Wish everyone in this vibrant and erudite gathering a beautiful evening. I take immense pleasure in introducing the first speaker for this glorious evening. We have among us Dr. Ruchi Raj Thakur. Dr. Ruchi is working as an assistant professor of English at Himachal Pradesh National Law University, Shimla since October 2016. She has a teaching experience of 11 years and 9 months. Her area of research is in diaspora and social issues pertaining to the underprivileged, disregarded, and oppressed sections of society. She is also exploring newfound synthesis of literature and history as well as literature and law. She has published many research papers in national online and offline journals, and also many papers in several national and international seminars and conferences. She also has translated a book originally written in Hindi, which is titled Vows of Adivasi, a long expression of the unacknowledged tribal existence. She has also worked as the counselor at IGNO for FEG and MEG programs and an eminent member of the advisory board of Aswadi Group. Madam, we are truly honored to have you as our resource person, and I invite your good self to take over the digital dais. Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to be with you and be with you on the very last day. I heard Dr. Bose, who was sounding so nostalgic. I'm sure, it is very difficult to bid goodbye to those who, who accompany us in a journey we take up together. So thank you so much for those kind words. Without delaying the session, I would like to talk about what I'm here for. And before I do that, I'll just let me share my PPT with you. You need to tell me, can you see the shared PPT? Can you see it?
Not yet, ma'am. Yes, now.
All right. So, dear learners, I will be talking about something that you've been hearing since day one, the day this program started. You're talking about, I'm sure the speakers must have brought to light many nuances which are attached to research. So today I got an opportunity to speak on research ethics, dilemmas of beginning a research, with its impactful conclusion. I'm sure you must have heard about a lot about research design, research structure, tools, approaches, and everything. So, let's talk about research very briefly. I will definitely not throw light on research since you know it better. But for me, research is a systematic investigation towards increasing the sum of knowledge, and I would term it as research. And nowadays, the contemporary time is witnessing many things happening around. So you could see research is being carried due to various reasons, sometimes to test the reported findings, or the authenticity, or to check the authenticity or relevance of such findings under different circumstances, or to make decisions regarding the new developments, or to refine the following earlier studies. But I think all in all, research always must always impel us to be original and to make an original contribution to existing data and knowledge. I'll just, I came across these beautiful quotes which can, very beautifully and very precisely define research. Research is seeing what everybody else has seen and thinking what nobody else has thought. I'm sure you've heard Shakespeare. You've heard about William Shakespeare. Shakespeare has explored. He's considered to be the dramatist, a universal dramatist, or a dramatist who is known for, keeping to the or who is known to be to have written on universal themes. So he has, like him, I mean, he has researched a lot. Everybody researches, or everybody witnesses lot many things happening around. But how do you see, and what do you think has to be, I mean, it has to be something that must govern your drafting skills, must control or must regulate your writing skills. And that made Shakespeare very popular. There's another quote which I think very beautifully, very resplendently explains the concept of research. That research has such power to broaden the mind as the ability to investigate systematically and truly all that comes under thy observation in life. I will not talk much about research because I'm sure for past 7 days you're hearing a lot about research. So what I would be discussing, let me just bring it down to the following points. And here I prepared the roadmap of presentation. Dear learners, I'll talk about research ethics, topic identification, introduction, and then conclusion. That makes the edifice of any research work stronger. So we'll talk about, I mean, I've explained it further in the next slide. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes.
So as I've told you, all right. As I've told you that we are going to talk about research ethics, the process of choosing research topic, how to write an engaging thesis introduction, what is a thesis introduction, and components that makes a thesis effective, and what makes it effective are the elements that I'm going to talk about, where I'll delve deep into introduction, conclusion, and research ethics. Then I'll be talking about why is it important to conclude. So coming to research ethics, I would love to hear, I would love to have responses from the learners. Can you please put it very precisely? What do you understand by research ethics? Just, anybody could, unmute and answer. What, according to you, are ethics? Or if I bring both the words, different words, or I juxtapose them, place them before you as research ethics, what do you understand by this term as a whole? Can anybody answer? Can I get a response?
Maintaining integrity when doing the research.
All right. Now, to understand research ethics, I think it is very, very imperative. It is pertinent to understand what are ethics, or how to define ethics. Ethics, and what ethics are doing in research, that I'm sure flabbergasts us. We feel bewildered when we hear research being juxtaposed with ethics. Any work, see, research is an action. It is an action where you conduct, you look for, you create a problem, and then you try to find solutions to that. You try to delve deep into the concept. You try to explore all those concepts which can be incorporated, which can be included to make the whole concept clear. But if it is an act, I mean, if it is an act, then it needs to be correct. It needs to be right. And it needs to clearly demarcate what is right and wrong. Now, research needs to be correct. Why? Because, by researching on some particular problem, you are in a way contributing to the world, to the society, to your community. You cannot be self-centered. It is not for your own, advancement. It is not merely for your success. It is not merely that takes you to the zenith. So you need to be, you need to think. You need to have a broader perspective of the concept so that you provide some succor to the society who sometimes find itself in some problem. So, first of all, understand what is ethics. Ethics is rightness or wrongness, means an idea which clearly, which creates a barrier between what is right and what is wrong. And this rightness and wrongness has to be there in any of the acts. It could be a human act, it could be a social act, it could be a political act. And here we are talking about research. So in a way, we need to maintain the morality. We need to be moral in our demeanor, in our conduct, because we are doing an act. That means, so when I put ethics with research, it means doing the right thing, conducting the right thing on at right time. Means you need to put things correctly. Correctness of the information is very important. And as I've told you, ethics cannot ignore the well-being of the society. It cannot negate the wellness or the welfare of the society as a whole. Of course, you as a researcher will gain something out of this or out of this action, but you are a micro part of the whole, and society is the macro one. So you need to keep all these factors in mind. In toto, I'll talk about the points that I've catalogued, that I've put in the slide. But if I have to talk a little more about research ethics, I would say research ethics provides guidelines for the responsible conduct of research. It not only, it creates a sort of checklist that this has to be done, this has to be denied, this is yes, and this is a complete no. Means you have to accept and you have to negate. You have to adhere, you have to, defy. So it actually acts as a checklist for the researchers. And at the same time, it monitors the activities of the researchers and scholars for the smooth conduct, for the seeming flow of research. So to have fruitful research, result of your research action, it is very important that you follow the points that I've put on the slide. And sometimes, of course, we are surprised to, we feel we are a little, we really need to make us understand that what are these points doing in the process of or in the flow of research. But they look very petty, but they're very, very important, because that if you follow all these points, definitely a niche can be you can mark a niche in the field, in the academic arena, in the literary arena, in the scientific arena, or in the world of research. Coming to the first point, can you please, let me know, what do you understand by this feature or this quality called honesty? what is honesty? I mean, I am very clear that was what is honesty for me in when I am talking about, when I'm putting it under the ambit of research. But I would like to hear from one learner that what is honesty for you? How do you take honesty when it comes to a research act? When you're researching, when you're conducting research, what exactly do you understand? What do you fathom by the word honesty? Can I get a response? I hope I'm audible.
Avoiding plagiarism.
Avoiding?
Plagiarism.
Okay, plagiarism. All right, that is a correct answer. But I would put it under some other category. So for me, or honesty is when you put your, when you honestly put your report, when you honestly report the data and the results of your study, including the methods, procedures employed in the data collection. When you do not misrepresent data, when you do not falsify, or when you do not temper the results, or you do not fabricate report so as to create a sensation or to hype up the subject that you are taking into consideration. You must have seen, nowadays there's a practice to make people to seek attention by doing something unique. You of course, by putting something new, you are doing something unique, but that needs to be correct. It must be true to the work. It must be true to your results. It must be true to your findings. So whatever you present, that should be true. That should be as you see and you write. As you encounter something, you pen down your experience. So do not falsify or do not misrepresent just to catch the attention or be into a controversy, because there's a practice or there's a credo which many people are following, that bad criticism makes you popular. Bad criticism means when you are not writing something correctly, when you are not presenting the facts as they should be presented. So what happens? You get into a bad light. And that makes you popular because there's a murmur everywhere. So that should not be the consideration. Moving to integrity. I'm sure when we think of writing a thesis, or we think of writing an article, there are many questions which come to our mind, and certainly leaves us completely completely confused. But somewhere we have to shape our ideas. And what do you shape makes a way in the abstract, or in the introduction abstract of a paper, research paper, or introduction of a thesis or dissertation. So what do you write in your, I think the moment you start writing, you start making promises, you start making agreements with the reader that this is what they are going to read. This is the objective of your research. By highlighting certain points, they will benefit something. So when you do that, you should continue doing that. You cannot digress from the main point. You cannot digress, or you cannot break the promises. You promise them to show, to take them to your world, the world, so, for example, to the world of magical realism, and you're only talking about fantasies and not linking it with realism, that means you somewhere, either you must have forgotten your promise, or you're not keeping your promise intentionally. So, I mean, when you carry out a research, 2 points need to be very clear in your mind. You need to hammer them down. First is, there has to be consistency in your thought process. You know, we get fascinated, whatever we see, we want to touch upon that issue, we want to take up that issue, we want to work on that issue. We feel that no, this can also be included, but keep to the objective, keep to the purpose. That should not be that should not be forgotten. That should not be that should not fade in the due course of action. So consistency in thought, and secondly, consistency in action. For example, here, one last example, which I would like to, I'm just trying to put it clearly. Suppose you're talking about partition. You want to talk about the catastrophe of partition. And then all of a sudden you're reminded of the ugly horrendous episode of 1919 or 1984. You cannot, all those can be dealt differently, but when you're talking about partition, you need to keep to the subject. You need to keep to the issue that you want to elaborate, or you're trying to expound in the form of research. Moving further, objectivity. Objectivity is, when you look at something, you need to be very objective, rational, logical, prudent. Your judgments cannot be lopsided. You cannot tilt towards a particular side. You need to look at the thing from both the angles. So both sides of the coins must be taken into account, and then a consensus or a result can be formulated. You cannot look at something with preconceived notion. For example, as I've talked about 1984, maybe as Hindu, this is not to hurt anybody, I'm just citing an example here. Suppose as Hindu, you would feel no, Sikhs are wrong, and as a Sikh, you would feel Hindus are wrong. The religious sentiments are always, these are controversial issues, but when you are taking up, or when you're conducting research in a particular area, I think you need to be objective. You need to look at both the fronts. So both the angles should be taken into consideration. And, if you will create a bias, that will affect, or you have your own choices and preferences, that will affect your research, your thesis, or the drafting of the research. That would be conspicuous, what you'll write, how you pen down your thoughts. You need to tone down what your opinion. You cannot be opinionated about, of course we need to be opinionated. I'm only trying to say that you cannot criticize other to put the first party in win-win situation. So that needs to be kept in mind. Now, coming to the fourth point, competence. Learners, I don't know, if you will agree with me, but I've always felt that when we conduct a research, a learner, a scholar, a research scholar carries out he decides that this is what he's going to research on. He acquires a lot of knowledge. He gathers a lot of knowledge by reading, by interviewing people, by merely talking to people, or hearing the narratives, and then coming to some result. So, your supervisor certainly is a person, who could be a veteran of that particular discipline. But when, as a research scholar, you go to the field, or you sit on a chair and you conduct a research, and I mean you are you are completely drenched into that subject, and you try to understand each look at the topic from all the dimensions, then I think you know the topic better, and you must know the topic better. You need to have the competence of you need to have competence by acquiring knowledge, by being the expert of your own subject, or by specializing in the field that you have chosen for your research. Coming to openness. Now, what is openness? Openness is when you you need to be broad-minded. Your research needs to be placed on a broader canvas. There are a number of new vistas are coming our way, new ideas are coming our way. We get to see new situations. We find ourselves in completely new environments or new ambience. All these result in new learning. That new learning should not be put aside. We must incorporate all the new ideas, all the new innovative ideas, and we should be open to the constructive criticisms and these new ideas. I'll cite an example. In our university, we are planning to have a panel discussion on family courts, and by chance the teachers somehow missed a latest amendment on adoption of child. So as soon as they were reminded of it, they had to incorporate, and the event had to be put on hold, because you cannot negate what new is happening around us. So you need to be open. Moving on to confidentiality. Learners, confidentiality is very, very important, because sometimes your research, you conduct a research on very sensitive issues, and one who acts as your resource, acts as somebody who helps you with the material, wants to or wishes to keep his or her identity confidential. The records, the papers cannot be put in public forum. So confidentiality needs to be maintained. You cannot, that means you have, made a promise with the person, and that cannot be broken. Moving to the third point, next point, non-discrimination. This has something to do with the biasness or the discrimination on the basis of sex, race, gender, where we make classification on the basis of various social stratification, or on the basis of class stratification. Casteism. So such kind of classification should not affect a researcher, because researcher has stepped on the field to gather whatever comes his way. He has embarked on a journey to put what he sees, or to put across or to convey what he observes, what he finds. So he cannot talk merely, or he cannot talk about something on the basis of the bias he has in his mind, or the discriminatory idea he has in his mind. He needs to be objective, because he's working for, because he cannot, the idea of, or the simple principle to work for the welfare of society must keep moving in his mind. It must be before him all the time. Moving to the last point, what second last point somebody said a while ago, legality and intellectual property rights. When we write something and we wish to publish, if it is original work, it is absolutely a good idea to get it published. But if you're publishing someone's original work that is that is a crime. That means it is a violation of intellectual property rights, where you are ignoring the copyrights of the original writer. Plus plagiarism. Plagiarism up to 5%, up to 7% is all right, because sometimes even helping verbs are taken as are shown as, they become red, which indicates that the word is plagiarized. So, but your ideas must be original. You can certainly, we take the help of, we read a lot, and then we extract what fits well in our research domain. But copying the whole work is something, it is illegal. So that needs to be kept in mind. Last, I've been talking about social responsibility right from the beginning. Social responsibility when you are doing something, when you are acting upon some particular problem, when you are taking into picture some particular tribulation, predicament, or something, you want to deal with something elaborately, comprehensively. Only thing that you need to keep in mind is you cannot be self-centered. It cannot merely it cannot be merely for your growth, for your career growth, or for your career advancement. What will the society benefit from your research? How are you going to carve a path? How will you leave a mark? How will your research leave an indelible mark on the readers? That needs to be kept in mind. So moving further to the next, coming to the second component of my research. I'm sure you all are experienced. I seriously do not know your educational background. So I'm just, excuse me. I would seek pardon if anywhere I offend. Now, coming to the next point, that is choosing a topic. Is choosing topic for research confusing? Yes, definitely. Certainly it is. Because when you choose a topic, the moment you decide that I should be working on this, this should be the area of research. That demands a lot of planning, that demands a lot of thinking, that demands a lot of strategies. The moment you decide that you would be researching on XYZ concern, the first thing that comes to your mind is, should I be working on feminism? All right, if feminism, what is the point I should be? I should be, I should be, which particular point I should be bringing to spotlight? What should I exactly work on? Certainly topic, choosing a topic, selection of a topic is not easy. You need to think too much about this particular component of research, because your whole research depends upon the topic. Now, just a minute. I thought I'll probe a question here. Tell me, what is the difference between research and subject? What is the difference between research and subject? Is there anyone who can apprise me of this? What do you understand by a topic and a subject? All right. You must have heard people saying, let's change the topic, let's change the subject. So sometimes when as a hearer, or as a listener, you would feel that, subject and topic can be used interchangeably, or they can be used, topic could be a synonym of subject, or a synonym of subject, or a subject a synonym of topic, which is not true, because both of them have peculiar definition. For example, in English, you talk about English language. That is a subject. But when you particularly talk about parts of speech, that becomes a topic. Or when you're talking about, suppose, the word web series, it is trending a lot. When you talk about web series, you need to be specific which particular web series is the person talking about. So one web series is a general concept. It is the subject of discussion. And when you take out a particular, idea of discussion from the whole, that becomes the topic. And here you have to decide for a research. Selection of topic is very, very important. As I've told you that without the selection of topic, you cannot move further. So topic is the first and the foremost feature of a research, because it guides us to learn and analyze a situation that we wish to take into consideration. In fact, it offers a roadmap for writing and reading, as it focuses on what is required to be highlighted. What are you trying to what will you explore? What are you going to bring to fore? So all these, a wider, of course, topic has to be a broader, the area needs to be a broader one, but it cannot be as wide as the subject. A subject can have a subject acts as an umbrella under which there are different, there are different facets or nuances or dimensions or different components that, come under the big umbrella of subject. Now, a topic is different, as I've told you. We have already, I'll just go a little, I'll discuss something that is mentioned on the slides, on the slide itself. A topic is different from subject, although these terms are sometimes used interchangeably. For example, this I read and it appealed me that physics is a subject and Newton's law of motion is a topic. So, in research, we think of a topic for research by narrowing down the aspect from the broader, broader area. As I've discussed, web series, or I've already cited an example related to English subject, the subject, and the parts of speech forming the topic. Now, let's go a little ahead. What shall I do for an effective topic selection? I'm sure when we step into this, arena of research, a number of the question words bother us. What, where, how, why, when. So all these question words trouble us a lot because the topic selection revolves around all these words, you need to, you must, you need to accept this, that they live in close association. The moment you say, what will I work on? You will think of, why should I work? How will I conduct this research? What will be the main highlights? What will be, how will, who will benefit out of my, research work? So all these words live in close association. They live with one another to make research meaningful. Moving further, research, what should be done in order to choose a topic? What should be your concerns? First, we all are blessed. I'm sure we all have innate qualities, or we have learned something or the other with the passage of time. Our experiences have shaped our learning. We have acquired, good understanding of things. But and I'm sure we all have done our SWOT analysis. We recognize our strengths, we recognize our weaknesses, opportunities, and strengths. And when you carry out, in order to decide or in order to select a topic, you must think of your strengths. You must select a topic according to the skill, according to your skill. What are you good at? What is your domain? Are you good at writing a novel? Are you good at talking about a novel? Are you good at prose? Are you good at poetry? Like for if I have to say, poetry is something I would think about it twice or maybe thrice, because I am more into drama and novels. So what is your strength? You need to identify. Next, don't aim to please anybody. A while ago I said you need to be objective, you need to be non-discriminatory, because you cannot please anybody. You need to gratify your quest for knowledge. You need to satisfy your urge to acquire new, your urge to do something new, your urge to contribute to the society. Moving to the next point. Should be relevant to the field of study and should spark your interest. What is your interest? How will this study ignite or enlighten, or it will fill you with a feeling of happiness? As I said, satisfaction, because you will be able to achieve your goal. You will fulfill your the purpose of your study. That will arouse your interest, that will arouse your passion, that will motivate you, and that is very, very important. Next, aim to solve a genuine contextual problems and answer the unanswered. Here I would like to tell you that your problems must be genuine. Do not fabricate a situation and then start thinking about it. Here I would like to cite an example. Learners, those who write, we have a notion. We strongly believe that fantasy or fantastical novels or fantasy novels are the novels which are meant for kids. But do we even realize that the writer writes from his surroundings, from the reality he belongs to, or from the real world he belongs to? So if he's creating a problem, if he's talking about a problem, that must be genuine. For example, when he talks about escaping from this real world, I'm sure this talks about the ugly realities, the incongruities of the real world. So in a way, he's talking about something real. He's touching our heart, our real feelings of this mechanical world. So find out a genuine contextual problem and answer the unanswered. What is not talked about? You must have heard, consider a virgin area which is untouched, which is not known to many. So start talking about or start researching on an area which is not known to people. For example, marital rape. Rape is a familiar term, and marital rape is something which has come into vogue with the legal, with the legal awareness. So, all right, find the gap. Try to understand, this is something to do with answer the unanswered. Try to create a gap. What has already been talked about or researched, and what will you research upon? That hiatus between your research and your research must fill the hiatus, must fill the gap. What has not been said, make others hear. Make readers know, make learners understand that this side of the coin has not been noticed. So you are bringing it, you are putting it across. So articulate the gap or identify the gap and bring it forth. Moving further, check availability of reading material. Learners, we become very impulsive and we choose a topic without knowing if the material is available in the market, or if you have something for your assistance, for your help. So check the availability of the material related to the topic you are aiming to choose. Last, align with the current trends. When you're talking about, something, bring it close, collate it with the real or with the current, with the contemporary issues. They should not, do not talk about redundant concepts that, nobody would like to think about. If you're offering something new, that is good, but justify it with the new trends the disciplines are setting in. All right. So this is, I'll skip this line. So I've put the process which you need to follow. I've put them in an order, but you may not follow them as they have been put, as they have been numbered. So lay emphasis on the following points. What will be the topic? What is your area of interest? So topic must be according to your interest. Topic must be appropriate to the discipline. Identify a supervisor. Why? A supervisor, despite the fact that you would be knowing a lot as you'll step into the domain of research, but you need somebody, you need an expert who can guide you in telling you how to move further, how to carry it further. And last, narrow down the broad topic to a specific topic. We have already talked about it. Now, this is an acronym which has a lot to do with the selection of topic. What is this FRIENDS? FRIENDS is an acronym. F stands for feasible. Feasible means what is my domain? What is how much I'm familiar with the topic? What is the availability of data? What how much cost will be involved? How much time will I take? So all these factors need to be taken into consideration. Relevance. Since your research, you need to be socially responsible. So you need to think that what will be the relevance of your study? Will it help the literary world, your personal world, social world, economic world? What will be the importance? And that needs to be kept in mind. Only then you can sound, a lot of responsibilities trounced on the back of a researcher, and you need to do your work, religiously, sincerely, and responsibly. Interest. Your interest is very important, because if you're not interested in the work, you cannot have motivation. You cannot take the topic any further. You cannot. Your curiosity will not be aroused. So you would delay the things. You would every day you will tell yourself, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm okay. Let me do this first, and then I'll look at my research work. So that should not happen. It must, lure you all the time. You must have an urge to work on it, every day, every moment. You must think about it. Next, ethical. Ethical is to carry out your research without deception. We have already talked about research ethics. Now, narrow. Narrow, N stands for narrow. Narrow means, you do not take a vague or an ambiguous situation. Your situation should not be too narrow because if it will be too narrow, you will be in dearth of material. You will fail to decide what to incorporate and how to how to make your research a substantial one. Or it cannot be too broad. The simple principle to keep it to make it appealing is be precise, to the point, be specific. What do you require? What is required to be stated? Only state that. Next, supervisor, we have already talked about. So S stands for supervise. Okay. D stands for discipline. I missed it. Discipline is keep to the domain, keep to the area that you belong to, the discipline you belong to. If it is science, then keep to it. If it is literature, keep to it. Yes, multidisciplinary, researches are too much in demand. So the idea, the discipline must be clear. The juxtaposition of two different intricate disciplines make a new discipline. So keep to that. Moving to the next component, that is the introduction. What is an introduction in a research? Why is it important? Introduction is very important because it sets the mood of the research. You tell the reader that this is the aim of your research. This is something they will gain out of the research. This will be your action plan. In introduction, you talk about methodology. You talk about chapter plan. You discuss. The skeleton of your research is prepared. So that you need to introduction is what will you tell them? So what will you tell them? That means you need to catalog all the points that will find a way in your research. What is the significance of introduction? The significance of introduction is that it serves the purpose of leading the research from a general subject area to a particular field of research, and it helps the reader to understand the context of the research. What will be the perspective? What will be the viewpoint of the research? Stating the purpose of the work in the form of hypothesis, question, and research problem. Through introduction, you can explain your rationale, your methodological approach. You can highlight the potential outcomes your research can reveal, describes the remaining structure of it. What is to be included? Include all the highlights which will contribute to the existing knowledge in your field and to overall development. For example, coming back to the same example, partition. You take everything. What happened to the children? What happened to the to women? What happened to Hindus and Muslims? How Pakistan was formed? What happened to India? What happened to the economy? How that divide took place? What was the political strategy? So everything that makes the knowledge complete, that makes the subject of the topic grow. So all those points need to be taken into consideration. Think of introduction as a mental roadmap that must answer for the reader these 4 questions. What is the central research problem? What is a research problem? Research problem is a problem or a situation to be defined. Means, what is your concern? Why are you doing this research? So that problem needs to be identified. What is the topic of study related to that problem? That has to be kept in mind. What methods? If it is partition, as partition is your topic, then what method will help you? Will it be reading? Will it be preparing questionnaire? Or will it be interviewing people or meeting elders who have witnessed this terrific, historic and momentous event of our country. So you need to decide the methodology. Will it be empirical? Will it be armchair, doctrinal? So what kind of method are you going to adopt? What is the research? Why is this research important? Means that will help you understand the social responsibility. What will you contribute to the society? I think I've already talked about it. Now, delimitations of your study. When you are carrying out, when your research is conducted, you need to keep all these 4 points in mind. The key aims and objectives of your study, we have talked about it. The research questions that you address. What, how, why are you doing this research? What questions or what problems will be dealt in this course of action? What will be, methods will be embraced by the researcher or will be decided by the researcher? Any relevant alternative theoretical frameworks that could have been adopted. It means any latest proposition that can rule out all relevant alternatives. So that need to be, that delimits, means the contours of your research are set. So a demarcation or limitation or a limit is created. I'm skipping this because I've already talked about it. Now, engaging the readers. How are you thinking to, how would you shape or how will you write your introduction? How will you make it appealing, not only with your content, but how are you going to catch the attention of the reader? There are different ways. You can include a strong quotation or vivid, perhaps unexpected anecdote. Pose a provocative or thought-provoking question. It can start with a question. Yes, your title cannot start with a question, but your chapter can. Cite a stirring examples or case study that illustrates why the research problem is important. For example, students, when I teach communication, I first make my students read a case study. They underline the non-verbal and the verbal cues to understand the importance of communication. Likewise, a case study can be put on the front page, and then questions can be extracted from them, and then a discussion can start, and then purpose and aims could be discussed. Dear learners, I prepared a sample here. So this introduction has started with a quotation. This was just to that was just to apprise you. Now moving to the last component. I know I'm running late. I'll conclude in 5 minutes. A conclusion. What is now? It is many a times we open discussion, but we forget to end it. We need to close the window of discussion. We cannot leave it open. For example, if we leave it open, there would be new entries. You will find that new ideas are getting in. People are, they are perceiving it differently. So somewhere you need to close it. Conclusion is, but do not misconstrue conclusion as merely a summary of your points or a restatement of your research problem, but it is a synthesis of key points, because you're going to highlight. See, in introduction, we tell what is to be told. And in conclusion, we tell what we have already told, right? So it is a synthesis of key points. Importance, why should we have a good conclusion? Good introduction, good conclusion are very important, because that, through them, you can win. The battle can be half won. Importance, why are they important? Because you summarize your thoughts and convey the larger implications of your study. You can demonstrate the importance of your ideas. You can introduce possible new and expanded ways of thinking about the research problem. You augment on what you have already talked about. Follow these general rules. State the conclusion in clear, simple language. Do not use very technical language. Do not use jargons. That, of course, somewhere jargons are important. For example, in literature, literary figure of speech needs to find a way, or theories need to be there. So, but everywhere, your language should not be convoluted. Do not simply reiterate your results or the discussion. Indicate, substantiate further. Talk about the writer. Indicate opportunities for research. What will be the larger scope of your research? The function of conclusion. You need to highlight the points that you have already augmented by restating the main argument. Conclusion reminds the reader of the strengths of your main points and reiterates the most important evidence supporting those arguments. Move from a detail to a general level of consideration that returns to the topic, to the context provided by the introduction, or within the new context that emerges from the data. Here, there is no scope for starting the topic all over again. You cannot start from the general statement and then narrow it down to the specific, because that has already been done in introduction. Now come to the main point, right? So conclusion is to augment what you have already talked about. What are the strategies to develop effective conclusion? If your research deals with contemporary problem, warn readers of the possible consequences of not attending to the problem. Tell us what has been told, but also tell that what could be the dire consequences if those gaps are not filled. And so recommend a specific course of action by interpreting the results reframed in the course of, reframed in a way. Provide a take-home message in the form of a strong statement that you want the reader to remember about your study. Coming to the last point, last slide, what is to be avoided in conclusion? You cannot be very wordy. You cannot be very, you cannot start all over again. You cannot discuss the concept right from the beginning. You cannot discuss about the methodology again. You cannot talk about the chapter plan. You can talk about the themes you have taken up. You can talk about the insights. You can talk about your results and the findings. But you cannot be, you cannot talk a lot, which means you cannot have everything that you have discussed in introduction. General statements. Now it is you need to avoid sounding general. You need to be specific. You cannot fail. You need to avoid in terms of failure to reveal the problems and negative results. You cannot say that I could not touch this. I could not talk about that. So failure to provide a clear summary of what was learned and failure to reveal problems and negative results need to be discarded from your research. There are many loopholes which we know, and we need more time to, think about them or to work upon them. Maybe we do not want to include them. So do not talk about them. Do not leave any open, do not leave things open so that tomorrow you, find yourself in thick soup. Because what you are talking, you know it better, and you should know that how to put that across. So that is all. I think as promised, I kept, of course, not to the time, but I talked about all four components that makes the edifice of research beautiful, insightful, and meaningful. Thank you so much. Any questions?
Any questions from the audience side for our doctor? You can go ahead.
participants?
No, good.
Yeah.
Yes. I have some couple of questions to ask here. My name is Harun Ibrahim, a medical practitioner from Ghana. Dr. Raj, I must say you are very, very good presenter. You are a very good teacher. I mean,
Thank you so
meticulous presentation, very detailed, rich information. I am very pleased with your presentation.
Thank you so much.
I learned you, yes, I learned you teach at School of Law, right?
Yeah, but I teach
you-
English to
yes.
law students.
Exactly. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Do you have any law background?
No.
No.
I
Okay.
am, I am doctorate in English, and I've got an
Good.
opportunity to experiment law and literature, and I'm enjoying it thoroughly. So, but no law
Yes,
background. I've yet to learn law.
I will really entreat you to do law. Please add it to it. You'll be
All
very
right.
complete. Yes. My
All right.
first
Thank
question
you
to
so
you
much.
is that, yes, welcome. My first question to you is, I have an impending research article that I'm currently working on. I want to state the full title of my research article. I want you to tell me whether it's a topic or a subject from your presentation. Can I say it? Okay.
Can you please
And
type?
yes.
Can you please type your question? Can it be typed?
No, we don't have access to the
Oh. So
yes,
you please
but let me-
come
let me-
again?
Yes, let me say it so that I want you to just tell me whether it's a topic or it's a subject from the presentation that you gave us. That is it. So the title is
Yeah.
yes.
All right.
Yes.
I started on a very general note. Research is a very wide canvas. But in research, we put under research, there are many aspects we can talk about. There are endless components. There are number of tools. There are number of there are a lot of variation. But here, when I touched upon, I've narrowed it down to 4 components. For me, these were 4 topics of the big subject, research. I did not talk about everything that needs to be covered under research. So for me, research is a subject, but introduction is a part of it. Conclusion is a part of it. Research ethics is a part of it. But now there's something more I would like to add. Now, research ethics here, I put that in us. I narrowed down the bigger concept of research ethics by quickly talking about, by swiftly, or I rushed through the points that need to be covered under ethics. But research ethics can become a bigger subject too. It can act as a subject, and the points, integrity, honesty, and all those other points, being non-discriminatory and things like that, they are the topics of research ethics, which is a subject. So for me, I started on a general note, but then I sounded specific because I specifically talked about the 4 topics.
Good.
I hope I could make that clear.
Yes, yeah. A follow up to what you said. In your presentation, you gave us what.
So your voice is Your voice is cracking.
Can you hear me well? Can you hear me clearly now?
Yeah, now I can. Yeah.
Okay. So in your presentation, you highlighted some bullet points of honesty, integrity, competence, social responsibility, openness, confidentiality, non-discrimination, legality, and intellectual property, and then objectivity. My question is on objectivity. on objectivity, you stress that you cannot criticize the opponent in your presentation.
No, yeah.
Yes, in your
Yeah.
presentation, I heard that you said you cannot criticize the opponent.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Criticize here means that you need to be, when we research or when we conduct a research, how good it is or how good the results would be if our research is lopsided. If we are looking at something with a preconceived notion, we are being judgmental that this has to be correct. This cannot go wrong. When we look at something with this mindset, I think we block our mind completely. We do not let other outlooks make way into our head. We do not see them. We negate them because our preconceived notions act as a barrier. They stop the other ideas to come in. As I said, if we suppose talk about, we have a very clear, let me talk about diaspora here. We have a very clear thing about diaspora, that the diasporic population moves away from their original or from their native country only because they are greedy and they want to earn money. That would not make us understand that there could be other reasons as well. So we need to objectively look at the situation. You need to be critical. You need to be critical, but you cannot be judgmental. You cannot look at something with with a fixed mindset. This is what I meant by objectivity. You need to look at both the sides of the coin and then come to a consensus. What appeals you and how you form an opinion, that depends upon your total observation or observation that is in toto, right? So you cannot say, before even starting something, you cannot say, no, this has to be right, right? So this is what I meant by the word objectivity here.
Good, thank you.
I hope
Okay, so yes. Very nice, a very excellent explanation. Then it means that something is missing here. What about subjectivity? What will you say about that?
All right. I think I've not got your question correctly. Can you please come again?
Okay, so you just explained, I asked you objectivity, and then you just explained to me that you cannot be judgmental, right? Yeah. Preconceived notion act as barriers. You cannot criticize the opponent. Your argument should be judgmental, cannot be judgmental. Then I'm saying that giving us honesty, integrity, competence, objectivity, then I think that something is missing here, which is subjectivity. What will you say about that?
Subjective. All right.
Yes.
Subjectivity is what I'm actually talking about. When when your observation, when you perceive a particular reality in a way you wish to perceive it, then your research becomes subjective. For example, honesty for you would be different from what honesty means to me. For you, a particular concept or particular topic would have a particular, a meaning in your mind. If we are researching with a preconceived notion that this is it, or this is the absolute reality, or this is the ultimate reality, I think there is no point we should conduct a research. Research is to find out what is not, which has gone unnoticed, right? So subjective and objective. Objective makes you look at the reality from all the angles. You cannot miss out on anything. And when you look at something as a whole, then you decide, then you take out the result. But subjective, the result is already there. It is already in your mind. This is bad. So when you work on the same concept, which according to you is bad, then there is no point in going further, because that bad cannot be changed or cannot be replaced by the word good, because you have perceived reality in your own style. You got my point? I hope I could make myself clear. Objective is, yeah.
Yeah, very, very, very perfect explanation. I've gotten it. My next question is, in your presentation, under integrity, you made mention of two key things. The things you mentioned were consistency in your thought process, and then two, consistency in your action. Yes. My question is, as a researcher, I have
What is it?
a cultural background. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can
but
you hear me?
somewhere your voice gets mixed up and I fail to get it clear.
Okay, so let me repeat my
Yeah.
question. I said in your presentation, under integrity, you highlighted two important
Yeah, I
things.
said,
That you said we should take note of. One, consistency in our thought process. Perfect. And then two, consistency in your action when we are conducting research. Perfect. Okay. My question is, as a researcher with a particular cultural background, everybody on this platform has a cultural background that they hold to at heart.
that
Nobody wants to infringe on his or her cultural background for anything less. Now,
I've understood
if I'm
cultural,
con-
you're referring to culture.
pardon? So now, if I'm conducting a research, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. So if you're conducting a research, that will frown on your cultural norms and values. Just opposing integrity that you told us. How should I go by that? Should I be biased?
All right.
Or I should just leave the research and do a different thing altogether? Thank you.
I think some part of your message is not clear, but when I said, consistency in thought process, consistency in action, I try to, I wish to clearly articulate one thing. I mean, if you're referring to culture, I seriously I've not understood your question, but what has been within my understanding, culture is a very big, it is a very big concept to talk about, right? And that big culture, when becomes a regional culture, that means we have narrowed it down. You need to be very clear in your thought process. What exactly will you highlight? What exactly are you going to talk about? It cannot be an amalgamation of different questions. That I'll do this also, I'll do that also, I'll touch that also. I'll talk about the referring to culture. I'll talk about polyandry. I'll talk about polygamy. I'll talk about about all customary practices. But till here, things are fine. That means your action is in the right direction. Consistency in thought process has been truly maintained. But now, in your the aim or objective of your research was to highlight the customary practices or how they are adding to the woes of society. If you club them with, you take them, you discuss the clash of cultural or customary practices with law, that would be a digression. Because all of a sudden a thought came into your mind and something fascinated you and you started talking about it. That could be a beautiful concept to talk about. But when you're talking, see, you have decided your line of action. So consistency has to be maintained. You cannot, you cannot meander your way through the topic. That means you're touching too many topics under one. You cannot do that because that was not a promise that you made to the learners. You decided, see, there are endless topics we can talk about. But when you are researching, you need to be very clear in your head. This is what I'm going to talk about. And when you are clear, then you cannot digress. You need to keep to the line. You need to follow the direction you have decided. So by that, by consistency, I meant that. I hope
Good.
I could, yeah.
Yeah, yes. You have explained it. I understand the explanation. I was linking it to cultural background of a researcher. So, for example, you are researching on a topic, and the very topic you are researching on, at a point in time, you realize that the topic is infringing on your cultural background. So, just supposing integrity that you gave me, will you continue to do the research, one, or you will be biased in your research findings? Which of
All
them
right.
will you take?
All right. Now, anything that is clashing, that is infringing, that is curbing your cultural practices, of course, if that goes with the topic of your research, you can definitely talk about it. You should be talking about it because you need to talk about everything that is relatable, right? But you will do that by understanding that there is a delimitation. There is a contour that you have set for your study. So if that falls within that domain, it's perfectly all right. That makes your research a true contribution to the society. But if that does not have a significance with the topic of your research, I think that can be kept for some other time. Or now, another situation, I give another example, another explanation for the same. Suppose you're talking about cultural practices and you feel that you want to talk about or you want to incorporate your a particular concept that is infringing or what you have talked about is violating or something that is harming or jeopardizing your customary practices, that can form a part of the chapter plan. That can be considered one of the chapters, right? So that can be dealt. But if you feel that this can be done away with, and for the time being, you should not be touching this angle because it has no relevance, then I think you can do without it. And if that needs to be taken care of and that needs to be taken into consideration, then I think it must form a way into the purpose or aim of your study and the title itself, so that it makes it clear that these are the points you're going to highlight in your study, in your research work.
All right, thank you, Doc. My next question is on subject and topic. You gave us a thin line between subject and topic, where you said topic is a subset of subject. So English language, and then that is English language is a subject, and then the topic can be maybe verbs or nouns or part of speech? Good. I want to give you a research article, a title of a research article. I want to know whether it's a subject or a topic that I captured. Can I say it, please?
Under research ethics.
Yes, on a research ethics. So I want to mention a research article, a title of a research article that I am currently working on. I want to know from you whether it's a subject or a topic. The
I've
title
already
is...
explained it.
No, I am saying that I am going to give you an example of a
right.
research article, a title of a research article. I want you to tell me whether it's a subject or a topic.
All right.
Out of the title. Yeah. So it states like this: International Law on Ethical Consideration, colon, the need for a global blueprint to safeguard the ethical principles of researchers and the research community. Did you get it?
Mr. Ibrahim, could you please write it somewhere?
We can't. We can't write it. I can't write it. We do. None of us have access to the message portal.
Can you please go a little slow and emphasize each
okay.
word that you state? Yeah.
Okay. So the title is International Law on Ethical
In commercial
Consideration.
law.
International Law on Ethical Considerations, colon.
In commercial law on ethical considerations.
Yes, international law on ethical consideration, colon. Do you get it?
No.
This
Maybe
ma'am,
I'm not getting the words.
I think others
Ma'am,
should
it is
also
a-
get the opportunity to speak something, to raise their, to ask some questions. He's the only one all time he is raising the question.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
true.
seeing
What
any
I feel, I think other participants also, we should get the opportunity to ask the
chunk
question.
of the time every day he's taking.
Okay, please, other participants can ask the question, please. Thank you. Doc, thank you very much for your answers.
All right, thank you.
If there is many question, I think
Lecture. I thoroughly enjoyed Dr. Ruchi's lecture, and I wish to have her email address.
Thank you, ma'am. Surely. How should I get to you?
My email address is KVT.
I need to note it down.
Or
Just
you share you.
give me a minute, ma'am. Yeah. What is it?
K as in kilo. K.
Okay.
V as in victory.
Okay.
T as in tango. KVT.
Okay.
And my surname. KVT ARYA.
ARYA.
At gmail.com, ma'am.
At gmail.com. Surely I will write to you.
Thank you.
All right.
yeah, thank you, madam. Just I would like to request you, not only you, to the organizer also, because there should be some time limit for the discussion hour. And also I would like to request to the organizer, because if there is a question lengthening, we will be missing the next resource person also. And the thing what I would like to request to the organizer once again, if we have many questions, we can get the resource person's email, and we can mail our question to the resource person so that we can take it up and the resource person can answer accordingly. That is my suggestion to the organizer. I hope the organizer can get my suggestion.
Actually, there is another
Noted,
suggestion from my
Deepak,
side.
noted.
Actually, there is another suggestion from my side that the chat facility has been disabled. We cannot write it on the chat box. For every kind of FDP and seminar we attend, we have the facility to write on the chat box. But we cannot write anything on the chat box. So, I mean, if you can look into the matter, please, that would be very helpful for the participant to enable the chat option, to write it on the chat box.
Good evening, everyone. Since Mr. Haruna has taken most of the time, but I still have a question, and if
it's not a big problem. Can I ask that question? Am I audible?
Yes, go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Ma'am's here. You
Okay.
can go ahead with the question.
Good evening, Dr. Thakur. It was a very nice presentation. Am I audible to you, ma'am?
Thank you so much.
Okay, so
I
my
got
question.
lost somewhere else. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I've got just one question. I'll not take much of your time. In one of your slides, you mentioned, we were talking about friends. It was an acronym for a couple of terms.
Yeah.
What you talked about was like there are two things which I didn't really get. One was narrow, and the second one is discipline.
Okay. Discipline.
Yeah, my
Okay,
question is
first,
like, I'm sorry to interrupt. My question is because you also talked about this thing because we are kind of, promoting this interdisciplinary research. So
Yeah.
how do we know and when do we know that, okay, we are going off the track, maybe we should stay in our discipline, or how much of going out of our discipline is, that's a bit confusing. So could you please let me know a bit about it?
all right. All right. Can I call you Mr.
My name is
Diler?
Dr. Dilay, yes.
All right. Dr. Diler, I'll answer the first question. Where I talked about narrowing, the research. Narrowing does not mean that you have to narrow down the flow or the process of research, or the domain you need to be very brief. No, I did not mean this. All I meant that narrowing here means, sometimes, there's a difference between controversy and vagueness, where the pictures are very hazy, where you yourself need to be clear about what exactly are you talking about. Sometimes we create a problem, like sometimes our questions are such, they sound more like statements and less of questions. So sometimes we sound vague. That is not hinting towards anybody, so don't misunderstand me. That is because I am a teacher, so I've seen how students put across their questions. So your problems you need to hit the bullseye. Means you need to be clear, what exactly are you talking about? Like, as I cited an example. Now, feminism, when we talk about, that's a big term, right? That's a broader canvas. Under feminism, what are you going to talk about? Which category are you going to talk about? Are you going to deal with America? Or which corner of the world are you going to deal with? Are you taking up Dalit literature? Or are you talking about tribals? Are you talking about the tribulations and predicament of the tribal women? Or of which particular section of women are you going to talk about? That is what I meant by narrowing. You cannot talk about like there are 10 different topics under a subject. You cannot completely talk about, or you cannot do justice to each one of them, because there's a limitation. When you write, there is a limitation of length. There's a limitation of time. Research can be endless. This job is endless. Even after doing doctorate, we are not sitting at rest. We are continuously doing something or the other. So we have divided our research process into segments, because we know somewhere we have to pick up from the broader, from a lot, I have to pick up one. So that is what I meant by the word narrow. And second point under narrow was be to the point. This would be off the record. Why do we have supervisors? Very honestly, this is out of my experience. When we research as a student, I feel that I also experienced that. Not that my teacher or my supervisor did not know anything. Of course, she was aware about the pattern of research. She was aware of the style. She was guiding me that this point could also be added on, that could be added. But I knew that I had to I will be taking up all these themes in my research work. So sometimes I would, as a researcher, as a naive, I would definitely digress. There is, I mean, I let me tell you, when you need to, that is why, we prepare synopsis to be sure about the direction of our research. To understand that we cannot digress. This would be like you're talking about, for example, you're talking about cow, and then you start describing the features of a dog. That would be a digression. So that needs to be understood. So the same was told to Mr. Ibrahim also, that you cannot customary practices and then you want to talk about everything that is affecting your culture. You cannot do that. You need to decide. That is why we make a selection of the topic, right? And coming to the discipline, interdisciplinary is research is too much into vogue. So you can keep, as I told you, I mean, I am also experimenting with these things. So for me, discipline was to be, I mean, you should know your domain of research. What exactly, I mean, which particular, where are you going to place? What will be the environment of your research? What will be the ambience of your research? What will be the domain of your research? So you need to demarcate it. You need to underline it. So, and if it is a combination of two disciplines, you need to understand that you are going to bring the two together. So doing justice to one and doing justice to other and blending them. So this is what I meant by discipline.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you very much.
All right.
Dr. Ruchi, I have a question for you. Like when you are explaining to Dr. Ibrahim, you mentioned about diaspora, that diasporic people are moving from their homeland to another place because they are greedy or something like that. If I'm not wrong.
No. I said this is, some people may look at it with preconceived mind.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah,
I found it a bit problematic. Yeah.
No.
Because
I
we
was
have
just trying to explain.
Okay.
No, I was trying to explain that what is a subjective approach. You would see a reality the way you wish to see it, right? We talk about people that they have left their their native places. Maybe they are so greedy and they want to earn more. India is not paying them. So this is a preconceived notion. So this is what I was trying to do. I mean,
okay. I got it wrong. Thank you so much.
yeah.
And thank you for your presentation. It was very informative and very nice.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much. Thank you for the lovely compliments. Any other question?
Well, I think there will be a long list of questions, Doctor, if only you're going to permit. Everyone is going to have a long list
Can you
of
share
questions.
your email address with us?
Yeah,
Can you share your
surely.
email address?
It is Ruchi Thakur. Are you writing RUCHI
Yes.
THAKUR @ HPNLU.AC.in. I'll share it with the organizers. Ruchi Thakur @ HPNLU.AC.in. So if there are no questions,
you have translated one from Hindi to English. So could you please tell me the name of the book? I'm interested to know about the book. So,
all right. Can I have your email ID, or if you could write to me, I'll share the details with you.
yeah, okay. I'll do it, ma'am. I'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
All right.
Thank
all
you.
right.